Hey guys, this is Untitled with Rollout Reviews, bringing you another Crossfight B-Daman review. This time it is CB-38 Drift Jacker. We'll set this off to the side and take a look at the packaging really quick. On the front here we have a nice image of Drift Jacker there with the stickers applied. He's in drift mode over here, and on this side we have his user from the show, Asuka. Up here we have the Drift Core, the Crossfight B-Daman logo, CB-38 Drift Jacker, and he is special type. On this side we have a pretty crazy combo, how to hold him, and on this side we have his functionality in the Break Bomber Tower. On the back we have all of his parts, all of his gimmicks, and his stats. He's pretty well rounded here with 4 power, 4 control, and 4 rapid fire. Inside you get 1 standard B-Dama and the second style of tool for customization. You also get the sticker sheet, and while I won't be applying these do look rather nice. They're very, very vibrant, and I suppose if you want him to look beautiful, that's what he's going for, then by all means apply them. And wouldn't you know it, it comes with a B-Daman too. Here is Drift Jacker, and he's a peacock. JAKU is Japanese for peacock, so that's where the JACKER comes in. For the body set, the head part is rather nice. It's got the beak here and the plume and a rather creepy looking smile. Either way, it's a nice substitute for something like the Dravice or Scorpio head parts because it has this plume up here. You can rest your finger on it and fire him with one hand provided you have proper arm parts. Speaking of which, the arm parts are very similar to the Eagle body set, which makes a lot of sense because, well, they're both wings. These feathery bits back here, you can rest your finger there, or rest your finger here, or if you really want to, rest your finger there. You can hold them like this, or like this, depending on your preference. Either way, it's pretty comfortable, but nothing spectacular. What is spectacular, on the other hand, is his leg part here. It has these 3 little talons here, which looks pretty cool, but what's incredible is this back tail bit, this peacock tail. What this means he can do is support all kinds of magazines alone without the access use of tune-up gear, which is just incredible. Just to prove a point, I guess, here is the Tornado magazine. This can hold something like 40 marbles. Let's attach this on here and load him up. There we go, he's almost full, and he supports it just fine. That's super, super impressive. So, as for the core itself, first things first, let's do a quick power test. I have my B-SPV here. And let's load him up and fire a test shot. 2.52 meters per second. So a nice middle ground. He's not too powerful, but he can still get those marbles out. I find it's kind of laggy when you're trying to do rapid fire with this guy, just because of the elongated trigger. You have to push it in all the way and then wait for it to come back out. But that's just a minor issue. The main gimmick of this core is the drive strip up here, very similar to the Excel core. However, where that was on the bottom causing a forward spin, this time it's on the top causing a backward spin. Basically what that means is it'll hit the target and then come right back to you. This is something really effective in Break Bomber because it'll hit the block, knock it through, and come right back to you. The return rate of marbles is something very important in that game, and this guy really does it better than anyone else. So here's a quick test. As you can see, it rolled right back to me. Very, very cool and very useful. Now this part on the front here can move. And just alone, I think that's super cool. The fact that you can kind of hands-on adjust the functionality of the core just with a simple turn is very cool. Just the fact that it has moving parts. But basically, it takes that rubber drive strip and moves it to the side. Now, to an extent, that does make him act a little like the core of Spin Leosia, which has a piece of rubber on the hold part. but that's a power type, so there's a lot more friction going on, and it's directly on the side, making the spin a lot more prevalent. Here it's kind of a spin to the side and a little bit downward, so it doesn't work all that well, but this is adjustable, so you can make it go to one side or the other, and basically you can hit a target and it'll go to one side, and then you can adjust it to hit the target and go to the other. It's a little hard to demonstrate with this spinning puck, but take my word for it, honestly. Now, while you can do that, that's not really what this is for, because his leg part does a little more than just support magazines. So, I have my tool here. Let's pull these off. And flip the whole thing around. Now there's an abnormal amount of space between where the foot part attaches and the power block. So that means you can attach multiple different kinds of foot parts on this guy backwards. I guess you would want to do that if you needed some back support, but if you have a foot part like this anyway, you probably wouldn't need it. Anyway, let's flip this around, turning him into drift mode. So, second bolt here. There we go, and there is drift mode. Now when it's on the ground like this, it doesn't really do anything different. But you'll notice that this part moves, and it's actually very floppy. But this allows him to sit upright like this. It's a very abstract gimmick, but basically what it's supposed to do is hit this ramp and turn to one side or the other to drift, hence the name. I don't exactly know how it works, but honestly, it's not all that effective. So I've turned this to this side, so in theory, it should go that way. I don't know. Let's find out. I can't really demonstrate it all that well on camera, but we'll give it a shot. No pun intended. Let's try that again. See, as you can see, it started going and then attempted to drift this way. Well, let's try that again. It was a little more prevalent there, sort of turned that way. It doesn't work all the time, and maybe if I stand up here, I can get it to work a little bit better. No, that time it just went to the side. Honestly, I don't understand it. It doesn't seem very practical, and it doesn't work all that well. Let's try doing it on the other side. Yeah, it started to go and then kind of went that way. Basically, what the box says the idea behind this is you'd have a target over here and then, say, a barrier. And you'd be able to launch the marble and go around the barrier and hit the target. Now, it is possible. In better situations, I have got it to work to an extent, but for the most part, there's not a whole lot of situations where this would actually work, where you would actually be able to use this as you're supposed to. See, there you go. I actually got very lucky there. But in the end, it's not very useful and doesn't work all that well, but it's completely optional. The fact that you don't have to do it really doesn't take away from this B-Daman. It improves it, because if this was the only way this B-Daman functioned, then yeah, it wouldn't be very good. But the fact that you kind of have to take it apart and flip it around to even get it to work in the first place is awesome, because it's there if you want it, and it's not if you don't. In the end, honestly, this is becoming one of my favorite beat-em-on, and I highly recommend it, especially for people just getting into the game. For a beginner, this is a great way to start. Not only does it have the awesome body set with the leg part here that allows you to support magazines without having to buy additional tune-up gear, but the drift core gives you a little bit of a leg up on the competition, kind of a beginner's push at brake bomber because of the great marble return rate. On top of that, it's got a lot of play value. With the drift mode, no matter how useless, you get a competitive side, and you also get a playful trick shot side to mess with. And that makes it worth it alone. So, anyway, I love this beat 'em on. That is about it, guys, and this is IX Roll at IX, signing off.